type poster for the single cover, right? And my creative director, Linda Strawberry, she's super talented. She's like, I got you. And she came up with this fantastic cover artwork, and it kind of went from there, and it branched out into the merchandise and the way that they edited the film. We wanted it to a film music video. We wanted to feel like a film and tell a story. And I wanted to act a little bit. I wish I had a chance to act more. I wish there had been, maybe some more dialogue in there. So that's something I think we'll do on the next video, is just take that story a step further and keep it going and incorporate some dialogue and acting. So it was just fun for me. So I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because if for those who haven't seen the video, you give a nice little intro into everything and a setup, and it is like a little mini movie. And you with the acting, is that something you've always wanted to do? Obviously, your focus is music and
Dabbled in it
singing.
so long ago. It is, but I dabbled in it so long ago. So it's kind of like just a thing I like to do. I never, took it all the way, but I did a lot of background extra work when I first moved to Hollywood, and it was interesting. And I did a lot of background work on music videos for bands that I grew up listening to. This is a fun little known fact. Bands that I grew up listening to, I was in the background of their music videos, and I had, it was long hours on set. So I think looking back, it really prepared me for the journey of where I'd end up, which I had no idea at the time. I had no idea I was going to end up being a songwriter and vocalist and fronting a rock band and writing songs and shooting my own music videos. So being there and the experience taught me the patience. And this takes a lot of, long hours and patience, and there's a whole creative process. And it prepared me for my journey. And I'm just like, oh, that makes total sense. Because when you're going through something, you don't necessarily know why. You kind of realize it later, Life, I guess, is understood backwards. Like, why did I go through that season? Why did I go through that heartbreak? Why did I go through that thing? Well, we don't know right away. Sometimes it takes a few years to realize it and find out. And now it's just kind of come full circle. So it's pretty cool. I was shooting videos before I was shooting videos.
I love that you're speaking of like, the path. Like I had any idea everything I went through would lead to this, picking up a letter G off the floor. So all the little overnight shifts I would do for radio and like where would this lead? I had no idea it would lead to this moment speaking with you. Hey, hey, I
So
told you to be a good co-host, right? You gotta be a good co-host.
thank you.
He's
Oh,
learning slowly, one step at a time. But yeah, so I'm glad to see that you're gonna be able to do this with another video because it was fun. And of course, Slash as the Undertaker, it's
oh,
who came up with that idea? Not the Undertaker from WWE, no Paul Bearer, no Tombstone, nothing like that,
right.
but just the
No, I mean, the director. I mean, he added all the graphics and the editing and he's very good with narration, storytelling, so that it feels cinematic. I mean, he had a film on Netflix. And so yeah, that was all Rich's idea, and it just came together so nicely. I had a great time performing it, and I love the looks too. I love just the aesthetic of where this is going, because I've never gotten to lean into it this hard.
I want to before I lose it, the guy who works behind the scenes, not my son who's safely just slid off my knee. He's fine. From one of my my friend Graham who works behind the scenes in the podcast, the way he phrased Tombstone Town. I want to I don't think I could phrase it as best as he can. He's like, I wonder if you could mention to Dorothy that I find Tombstone Town one of the best rock tunes I've heard in recent years. The lyrics and
Yeah.
the delivery of them are highly satisfying, awesome riffs and beat. It's relentless. So that's how I feel too. Is that
Man,
I'm
thank you.
assuming is that you must be very satisfied with the video and the music and just how everything's turned out.
It's so funny how Tombstone Town came about. It was kind of last minute at the end of the record. And Scott Stevens, who produced my album The Way, co-wrote everything with me. And we had a Zoom session with Curtis Peoples. And he's like, I just have this title. I don't know what it means. I have this title. It's Tombstone Town. And we were all on Zoom. And it sounded theatrical and campy, and we were like, how are we going to write a song about that, and of course Scott Stevens is just brilliant. Like, he's he's so multifaceted, multi-talented producer, songwriter, musician. He was a frontman, so he knows what it's like to be an artist, and he has a lot of compassion, and he creates a very safe, and I've said this before, a very safe place for artists to explore their craft in the studio and grow and get better. And he's just helped me so much. So we kind of went back and forth, and I had just gone through a this is like the story of my life. I had just gone through a really painful breakup of, but just betrayal and humiliation. And you know, you learn with each one. It's like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When there's red flags, don't paint them green. And I, kind of had rushed into things, and I'm learning to let things go and take my time. It's a work in progress, one day at a time. And so there was a lot of betrayal, hurt, and anger. And the song was like a diary entry. It's a real story. So this is not the first time this has happened. And it made for a really great song. I never really got into screaming either until this record. And we did it first on Mud. And then we're like, yeah, let's throw a scream in the bridge here, right, ripping into the Slash solo. And it just feels very raw and visceral. And so it felt like therapy to me. And we knew we had something special when we figured out the chorus. It felt beautiful. There's a beautiful chorus. Some of the melodies in there are really, really stunning, and harmonies. And it's real, like it's a real heartache. It's a real story. So it's special to me. And I think, it was worth it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That thing
Yeah.
that hurt so bad, it was worth it because of this song and this experience and having Slash complete the picture. And it's just badass. And I'm really grateful. I don't regret the past.
Badass is the right word, and that's the feeling I got from it. While there's an element of fiction, of course, Slash isn't really an undertaker. You could tell that it's autobiographical, autobiography where it's you at the same time. It's a nice blend of everything, and that's why Slash is one of my favorite artists as well, because that's something he's able to do. Take his life experiences and use his creativity. So I'm going to talk about that collab, because you guys have been working together, especially in Orgy of the Damned, and I was lucky enough to see you perform that song live with him, right? Key to the Highway. My wife and I, we went to go see a Serpent Festival at Pier 17, New York City. We
Yes,
were
New
at,
York.
yeah, on the rooftop. And actually, we were going to take Baby Brownstone. That's his nickname. But we were up too close, and I was like, I don't know, maybe let's wait until next year before taking him to like rock concerts. So, much to my surprise, I was enjoying the show. He's like, I got a special guest, and then you came out. You came out. So, were you just happened to be in town, or was that something you guys planned ahead of time? How did that,
Yeah, he
get
asked if I wanted to come do it. So I said yes. Yeah, of
simple as
course.
that? And you happened to be in New York?
I was traveling, so yeah, I made it part of the journey.
Okay. Is there something like the beginning? Because I hope you guys keep working together that you've learned from Slash.
Oh my God.
It's not so much of just like you guys work well together, and it seems like you've been working together for years and contemporaries. But obviously, he's been around the block a few times. So I'm just curious what you've learned from
Yes.
him.
Yes. When we were at the video shoot, he said something very significant and very important to me because, he said, his words, not mine. He said, "This is your time. This is your year." And I've been, in and out of recovery for a long time. And he's like, "Don't sabotage it. It's not an option. Don't sabotage it." So put that first. Stay sober. Put your recovery first. For me, and it's this, for me, it's God, recovery, and then everything else. And if it's
Mm.
not in that order, it falls apart real fast.